Oh gosh, I guess nothing would have changed. We would have still been really in a position where we continued to be so inefficient, even more manual work because our business gets more complex as we go, and poor visibility of data and insights and what's working, what isn't working, and where do our teams need to focus in their different roles. And that just makes it difficult to support any future growth. So we wouldn't have grown any further. We would have continued to really struggle on our day-to-day. This has just made things a lot easier for us, really, to do what we do and what we're passionate about doing. One of the main priorities was getting one view of the customer. It doesn't sound like it's that complicated, but really in a charity such as ours, we were so small, yet we had so many systems. Having one view of them was near on impossible. We had data around their activities from our WordPress, our membership system, but we had other information in a survey system. We had other information in a mailing system. We had multiple spreadsheets. And so that really just clouded the view and meant that we weren't able to see one view of that customer. As a charity, we don't always have, I don't have the access to the large IT departments that I've relied on in the past. In fact, I've never actually implemented a CRM system. At most, I've been a super user in that process. So I knew it was important that I was going to need a strong partner. Intelisense were able to be there for us, to be able to really guide us in directing what needed to be done, but also really unpacking our business to know that what we were putting in place was really what would add value. In corporate, I'd always had access to the best systems. Most of those had been Microsoft. And so when Intelisense shared that product with us, it felt quite comfortable straight from the bat. And it was something that we could really understand and felt familiar. Someone to really guide and direct us, to understand our business, find the right product, but then really hold our hand right to the end of the process. We just don't have access to the skills and expertise required to do that alone. Yeah, industry knowledge was really important. The fact that Intelisense had a strong reputation and experience working with charities was really helpful. Not only did it give us great insight into the bits that we might not have considered that the system could do, but that they'd worked with other charities on, but it also gave them a certain amount of empathy and patience with us and the size team we are and the capabilities that we had in-house, and we really felt supported. Technically, it was really important that Intelisense were really strong on the support they gave us as a CRM. We didn't have those skills internally. And so it was really important to get that knowledge and expertise. But more importantly, we had a very complex landscape. As small as we are, the systems and tech that we use, there was just so many and they were quite complex. So them being really strong on the integration side of the business really helped us to protect what worked currently, but really build and optimize using the CRM on top of that. Culturally, it was great to work with the team. I think from the very first call, there was, good, comfortable chat, a bit of banter, all elements through the journey. Were really pleasant and stayed connected, which was really important as well. It wasn't that we felt we were handed over to anyone. The team constantly checked in within all their various roles, and there was oversight all the time, which was really, really good and really supportive. Yeah, one of the key workshops or interactions that really stood out for us as a team was the business outcomes session. It really felt that Intelisense wanted to understand our key drivers to make sure that the solution they put in place really unpacked value for us. But it also cemented how aligned we were in that we may have seen it differently, but the final outcomes were really as we had expected. And Intelisense were really able to ensure that the project implementation and the outcome of that really talked to those business drivers, that we were putting the right metrics in place, that we were storing the right data. So that really stood out for us. It was a great experience. Yeah, well, implementation is where the hard work really starts. It's one thing to talk about it in theory and when you're talking what it's going to look like and hypothetically, The devil is definitely in the details. So our implementation journey was great. As I mentioned, Intelisense were really supportive. They were really patient with us, found out a lot more about our systems and came across a few more barriers along the route. But Intelisense were there to hold our hand, and it was really helpful to be able to have that expertise while we were uncovering these challenges. It was a real collaborative process. It really was. We have a small team, but the fact that we were a small team really didn't matter, because the support that came from Intelisense really enabled us to unpack that, to collaborate. Well, I guess one of the biggest challenges when you're putting in a new IT system is always not to over-customize. And Intelisense were really able to ensure that we were still focused on those business outcomes, but that we were looking at more of a generic approach on how to do this, and then customizing more within our business rules or the system capabilities once we got to that point. But it meant that all the way along, they kept us right, that decisions were made, they were informed decisions. Another key challenge was the integrations. I don't know that any of us saw the magnitude of the work that was coming in that perspective. We had issues, for example, where the CRM was bringing the data through, but what we had a product named in the CRM, it was named something differently in Stripe, and it came through with a different name in WordPress. So aligning those back-end systems to be able to bring forward the right information was a real challenge. But collaboration was great there as well. The team in Intelisense were able to work with our WordPress developers and our learning management system to be able to make sure that that end-to-end process was considered and that any challenges or barriers were dealt with up front. The training was great. We were never really left alone. We were supported both with online training, with manual type training, written documentation. Once the team had a bit of exposure to the system and started using it, the team were definitely supportive in putting on another training session that felt much more dedicated to where we were as a team in that journey. The rate of response was great, actually. It meant that any hurdles I was approaching were really able to be handled really quickly, timelessly, and certainly that support all the way through. Oh, we've gained so much already, and it's only been a few months. Probably the most obvious and sounds so simple, but is a stakeholder database that's wider than just membership, and the ability to track activities about those stakeholders, not just to refresh the team's memory and keep things in one place, but so that I can oversee the business. Reducing manual tasks by automating. There's been so many of our spreadsheets we've been able to get rid of. There was additional lost opportunity that we weren't able to untap before, and we're now able to really follow through on those and understand how many can we convert, and what do we need to do and change in our organization to be able to convert more. Adoption of AI has been great, actually. It's really helped us with that. Many of our systems had AI capabilities, but no one had the time to use 27 systems and the different AI capabilities that offered. So now that we've got a lot of that data and activity happening in one place, we can really use AI to be more effective in that, giving us an extra set of helping hands, perhaps.
The biggest sort of benefit for me with the new software is the email campaigns, being able to look at all the analytics, the heat maps, using the journeys to tailor communications with our members and beyond.
Having the system implemented has really helped keep track of communication between us and our external clients, the individual members and our organisational members as well. Having everybody's emails logged in the system makes it so much easier to check and see where the conversation was the last time, and being able to add notes after each call has really helped with keeping that consistency going as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the future. We're now in a position where we have a real stable foundation, one version of the truth, a position we weren't in this time last year. We're able to track insights and record data on what our customers have spent with us, what products are selling, what services are being taken up, and where we are doing well and where we need to really focus more as an organisation. We do hope one day that we're able to build on the CRM system to be able to have a full order to cash system. I know that we'll be engaging with Intelisense about that to position us to be a leader in this field going forward.